And we're podcasting.
And we're
We
podcasting.
are podcasting.
All right, so because the magic of studio magic and everything else, you guys missed like me having a head cold trauma choke out fucking festival, which is great. I'm sure they will post bonus footage of me screaming about it in the bathroom, trying to clear the sinus clog from my ear and whatnot.
This is the second start to episode 31. We did about 5 minutes, and it was mostly coughing fits. Oh, here we go, and we're back. Easy. Easy.
Wasn't sure if they missed that really, or that they were saved from that. So yeah.
Bob's a little under the weather. You had a birthday on
last Friday was
the
my
weather.
birthday,
Bob's a little under the weather. So am I, actually. Two of us.
If you can't tell,
I'm sipping water, which is a rarity for me lately
probably
here.
the laughing that's not helping right now.
I don't know what I am.
No, it's not. It's just the cold. It's great. I'm deaf in one ear, and I can sort of hear these guys talking over here, and I know they're making fun of me, and it's great because I love it. But at the same time, it's like, at this point, I feel so shit I don't even care. And it's funny because one of our guests here tonight, who brought a VR system in, it improved my life for a few minutes because I was like not in my own head, choking in this head cold for a sec.
You were where, on the Death Star fighting Darth Vader? Is that what you were doing? Cameron,
no,
that's
Darth
Cam.
Vader would have like absolutely, no.
Cam
I was
Sedgwick, shout out. Throw up the Instagram. There it is. Thank you, Cam.
I was like desperately trying to grab small training droids and failing miserably by opening menus and like.
Miserly.
You're playing this badass VR Star Wars game, and all you're doing is looking into medicine cabinets. Just walking into the medics room. Nice. Rich just said that with his eyes closed, for the record.
Yeah, Rich
his eyes were closed,
Rich
and he was
has
out.
achieved a meditative state.
He's
where
still
he
with
is,
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're working on getting a Rich Cam, folks. That would be our call in and donate to a Rich Cam fund. If you want to see what Rich is doing 24/7.
Right.
But only during the podcast. So that's 1 hour of that 24/7.
Oh, no. If funding gets high enough, I will facilitate cameras everywhere he goes. See, he doesn't go that many places. I can predict most of them because I'm there. Right. And the places I'm not, his mom is there. And if the price is right, the cameras are going in.
So unlike a lot of things in life, we got a second shot at doing this here episode 31. We're in the 30s. We're approaching that almighty number. What's going to happen? We don't know.
Well, it's good. I just turned 38. So now we're looking down the barrel of how can I top all of this?
All you people who know about numbers, like I'm sure there's lots of meaning to those numbers. So, write in, tell us what all those numbers mean.
Yep.
That'd be cool.
Hey, Karim.
38.
Every time I cough, could you like put a random swear word in instead?
Right.
Just like from anyone off the internet. Like, I don't care. Just pluck them clean and free.
Or just
sure,
make.
yeah, but that depends on how much you cough in the episode.
Just
I'm
make
coughing a lot this episode.
Yeah, I'm not spending 2 hours just
Make like a
listening
horn.
to you
Oh,
coughing.
come on, just for me. I just want to see, like, every time these guys are talking, it's like I have Tourette's or something over here. It's like they're talking, all of a sudden I'm like, fuck! And then it's another guy's completely different voice, like, Mr. Falcon! Or, like, you know what I mean? Just goes off for, like, an hour like that. That'd be great.
Yeah, you could dub over with like some Chinese cinema or something like that. That'd be funny.
I want different voices, like women's voices, men's voices. It's just, every time I cough, like, someone going, damn! Just whatever. Because this is
For the record, our producer's hand is in his head right now, and he's not.
Come on, we're trying new things. We're breaking boundaries.
Often at the beginning of these episodes, there's a point where I look at both of you and I'm listening to a conversation, but in my head, I'm like, I have no idea what's happening right now.
I always thought in your head it was like the bear with the symbols.
If you're listening at home and you're like, what are they talking about? I'm with you. I get
All right,
lost.
so what I want to
sometimes.
talk about today actually is the duplicity, once again, of the lifestyle I've chosen and the way that inflects and impacts on absolutely every story that I've told.
The lifestyle you've chosen being a superhero? Is that
Yeah, that's right.
that's the path?
I'm a superhero. No. I was talking to people at work on the weekend. It's my birthday weekend, so I was partying a lot, hanging out with people, and talking to guys that worked for years and years and years. And one of the constants that comes up from guys in the industry, no matter whether I work with them or have worked around them or meet them from other bars and establishments, is that at some point in your life, you chose, I'm going to work the nightlife. And I was talking to the new guy at my work on the weekend, and he, is like a new hire and was worried about the guys not accepting him, you know? And we were just chatting in the back, and I was like, look, man, this place is like kind of a purgatory for people with a certain intellectual and physical skill set. If you don't want to wear a monkey suit and work in an LCBO, you might end up doing what I do, which is working booze cans, late night spots, being a bouncer, being a private investigator, being a bodyguard, all mercenary work, like all contracted to myself. When I say mercenary, let's not think like jungle hopping, butt-nut psycho, ex-military lunatic coming out of a war zone that can't handle his shit. I'm talking like a guy that just has connections and contacts with people who need physical protective services. Sometimes it's as innocent as, look, my kids work for or playing in a battle of the bands, and they've been online threatened. And I just want to make sure that everything goes well at the show. And so I watch a bunch of like 13-year-olds play pop music to other 13-year-olds, and nothing happens because when they leave the stage, whoever could be angry about it sees they're leaving the stage with a 7-foot guy in a fucking half suit. And they're like, okay, maybe I should fuck with something else, like the garbage cans by the exit. You know what I mean? Other times, though, where literally I've been hired for very similar things, and it turns out there are like insane hockey dads in the parking lot who don't think these kids should be winning the awards they're winning at these like Battle of the Band events, and are threatening children over their musical talent. And then I get the joy of showing them exactly why the garbage can next to the exit is a thing. Because you can end up in it.
Just picture dads chirping their kid like, "Hey, Billy, you got no riffs on that guitar, Billy."
No, it's worse than that. And I'm talking like psycho hockey dads. You know, not riffing. I'm like walking out. These guys are threatening children because, well, my kid should have won.
Are you talking about the guy that you made do a full body nod? I remember you telling a story about that. Okay, yeah. So, yeah.
That was him.
Okay.
He
What
offended
did
me
you say?
personally.
Full body what?
Full
body
body
nod?
nod. Yeah.
Not.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
N-O-D, nod.
Oh, nod. Yeah,
Nod.
that's what I thought you said.
What
What
does
is
that
that? What
mean?
is that? Yeah. What's
When
a
you
full
look directly to the ground and meet it.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Don't you remember the story? It was in one of the episodes.
No, I don't. Refill me or re-explain me.
Refresh me.
I don't know.
He was-
Re-educate me.
That'll be the
It's
later
his story.
podcast.
I am also sick right now, for the
So
record.
it's
Lars's podcast.
one
Fill
of the
me.
episodes. His story told by another guy. Okay, sure. He was bodyguarding some kids. Apparently, dad got angry because his kids didn't win. Bob met the guy in the parking lot and basically crammed the guy into a trash can.
Oh, right. Yeah, the trash can guy.
That's a great image with the feet
That's what I
sticking
just
out.
said.
Folded
Yeah.
him in
I
half?
introduced them to the front trash can
Okay.
in its most appropriate form, which is
Gotcha.
sometimes you fitting in it.
That's great.
And the kids came out and had no idea. Like, they were like, their dad came out and was like, what was up? And I'm like, I told you the guy was a problem. I dealt with it. The bouncers at the club were like, did you put a guy in our trash can? And I was like, that's speculative. I might have, I might not have. We're going to wait a few minutes. My clients left. My check was paid. I'm like, yes, I put a guy in your trash can. Would you like me to take him out of your trash can? And they were like, nope, because we already called people and we don't think you're going to help with that. And I'm like, well, help in what sense? This guy's a douchebag that like fucking threatened like small children over a music event.
Like, what were some that you were giving
what
some
kind
examples?
Of help do you want?
You were saying that they said some pretty harsh stuff. Like, what were some examples?
Well, it wasn't just harsh stuff. It was threats.
Okay.
It was literally like, you guys are cheating in these events somehow. Meanwhile, it's like the kids just know these kids could play songs like you wouldn't believe. Like, it sounded like AC/DC, but it's a bunch of fucking 10-year-olds and shit. It was crazy. You know, these kids were really talented.
The bouncer at the
But
kids'
it's one of those
talent show.
things,
That's
right?
great.
It's one of those things, though, right? Anytime there's competition, anytime there's money involved in prizes, there's going to be somebody who thinks, well, my kids are better than you. Why are you winning? You must be cheating. You're like, blah, blah. It's like, no. I saw your kids there, redneck. I was there. They were okay. But you know what? These kids are amazing. Your kids weren't bad, but these kids were amazing. Just let it go. Like, sometimes people are better than you, man. That's just the fucking way it is.
'Cause nobody wants to admit that their kids are losers.
Well, it's
a
not
hard
even
thing
that,
to
though.
admit.
Even if the kids aren't bad at it, the thing is, this guy was worse. He couldn't accept that his kids couldn't be the best. And I think every responsible adult who has children has to recognize sometimes you have a child. My dad said it to me very clearly, and it's not offensive. He's like, Robert, you're never going to be a mathematician. You just aren't. My dad taught math. I just don't have the head for the numbers, right? So he'd be trying to tutor me and teach me and things. And he's like, look, but you're a painter and a sculptor and a musician. And you're all these things that I'm not.
Like a horn or a chicken, like he's just.
I would go
has
for
a
barnyard
Tourette's.
animals.
So again,
I was
he's one
thinking
of my
about it,
heroes.
Dolphin.
And what he said to me was, do what you do. Do that. And do that well. And we'll let other people handle the fucking, mathematics of it.
I can't imagine anyone coming across Bob and sizing you up, being like, "Let me guess, you're a math guy."
I don't know. Put a scarf on him and like give him some spectacles. You know,
Right.
you never know.
Yeah, see, the problem is that's the problem we have in our society, right?
Yeah,
With everything.
with everything. Yeah.
I mean, people's imagination far outstrips their physicality, and their understanding is usually quite paltry. And that's what pisses me off. It's like you can imagine better, but you can't see it when it's talking to you. You can hear it in your mind, but you can't physically recognize truth when it's demonstrated. So instead, we like to do what's easy. We like to believe. We like to believe in what people tell us. We like to believe in the way things are supposed to be. And I know what this is like, because I started off my life very, very Christian, and had very strong beliefs. Very not just religious beliefs, but very regimented beliefs. It was not so much the Christianity; it was the regimentation, right? Because Christianity has a lot of its beautiful points. Most religions do. But organized religion is organized. It has a purpose. That purpose is usually political or social, but socio-political. It's to make people follow a certain track, be that in the family, be that in the community, or be that in the government, or be that in the world. You're following a track. And that track is laid out for you by the doctrine, by the scripture, and by the priests and the hierarchy. And then it's reinforced by the society that associates with that belief. And that's universal. That's all religion. That's just religion. That's how religion functions in the human construct, right? That's how we do that. So when we talk about our beliefs, you can feel betrayed by them, and you can feel isolated by them, but you often believe anyway because there's no exit to that structure of fundamental functionality associated with your life. I go forward from here because of these beliefs, not because of my choices, but because of these beliefs. So when my mom died, I had to drop a lot of things. And one of the things that had died, in order for me to move forward, was my concept that my beliefs were the core fundamental structure that guided my life forward. Because if that was true, then I was wrong, and this whole system was wrong, and there was nothing left here for me. You see? Because in my worldview, good, pious, kind, honest, clear-hearted people aren't stricken down because Jesus picks these people up. God intervenes. These things are important. These miracles can happen. And when they don't happen for you personally, it tests your faith. And the only thing you can say to yourself is, well, either my faith was not educated enough, or I was wrong. Or I was wrong. And I think that's a really hard place for any young person who doesn't really understand religion anyway. I mean, theology, you got to really study that shit. And I started to after that because of this esoteric journey. It scared me. I was like, how do I understand religion? How do I understand belief or faith? I've seen fucking spirits. I've experienced things that they prove to me that faith is something I have to have. But in what and why? I mean, how do you define that? How do you live that way, and how do you know? I mean, those are questions I'm not sure you ask and how you ask them, right? And it isolated me from my religious community completely. I mean, I asked too many questions too fast, too hard. And honestly,
get out of here.
No, and literally. Yeah. I mean, honestly, though, when you do that, I mean, in any institution, scientifically, otherwise, you ask too many questions too fast, too hard, the powers that be go, okay, you know what?
Right.
Doesn't matter whether you're on the right track or not. We can't and won't answer these questions.
Like, this guy's bad for business.
Yeah. So beat it. Or be quiet. And, I mean, you guys fucking know me. Being quiet, that's really not possible. Like, I have like the weirdest kind of Tourette's syndrome, you know, instead of swearing at random when I shouldn't. Although this episode, if we get edited properly, it might make you think otherwise. If I've thought something, there's a very good chance I've said it out loud. It's verbal diarrhea to the end. I mean, a lot of the stories I've told you about my drunken behavior, if I had said nothing, I would have been fine.
Right.
But I can't keep my fucking mouth shut. And the same is true with my intellectual opinions and my political opinions and this and that and the next thing. I mean, I'm the poster child for freedom of speech, because if you take freedom of speech away, I'm going to jail like tomorrow, like right away. And it's not because I'm trying to insult or denigrate or hate people. It's because I think these questions have to be asked. And they have to continue to be asked, even if you think you know the answer, because you might fucking not. And as information changes, it changes the way we perceive the world. And sometimes a question that's been asked 1,000 times, the 1,001st time, is the only time you actually can answer it. So I might ask you a question you think is, oh, this is self-evident, you know. Of course this is happening. People told me this was happening. This is the way things are. I believe this to be so. I was educated this way. This was told to me or printed on the board or written in a book or tattooed on my face, or, you know what I mean? It gets down to that fucking point. How do you digest that information? How do you know it's fucking true until you question it forever? The man who thinks he knows something is the biggest fucking fool on earth. Because it's going to be proven time and time and again that what everyone knows, you can't break the speed of sound. The earth is flat. There are no planets orbiting the sun. The sun orbits the earth. Right. You go to these places. These were facts. People died, burned at the stake for these facts. Okay? Burned at the stake for these facts. Drank hemlock for these facts. And you're not allowed to question anything? I say go fuck yourself. Question everything. Go right back to the base foundation of the scientific method, which, by the way, if people don't understand this, was invented in the Arab world by a very, very intelligent man. And he decided that he was going to find out that light was ray because he thought it might be, punched a hole in his tent, used some sand fiber and a candle, and 3 weeks of observation, and discovered from this, because of the curvature of shadows, that the world was round. So you know what?
It's that easy.
You can do it in a tent with that kind of human power of ingenuity, then I think we can do it today with satellites, all right? So all I'm asking people out there, and again, it's the dichotomy of this fucking podcast, and thank you for bringing this up. The drugs, the drinking, the partying, the everything else comes from a depression that is not stemmed from my ignorance of the world, but from my frustration with it. It irritates me. I'm not just some drunk guy sitting in a corner sucking back a 40 being like, I don't know what's wrong with the world. No, I understand pretty clearly what's fucking wrong. And that's what pisses me off. If more people just listen to a little bit of reason and spend a little more time reading books and thinking for themselves rather than redigesting the snippets of other people's lives, we'd all be better off.
I like what you said about questioning everything. I think people should have, like, you should make some pretty firm decisions about your beliefs so you have an operating system or some North Star or paradigm, but that should be questioned constantly.
Yeah.
Like, like every 6 months or every year? Like, does this
Like,
make
listen,
sense?
I'm not
Is
a
it serving
constitutional
me?
scholar, but the American Constitution has written into it. It should be questioned. It should be judged. It should be reevaluated as time goes on. And that can be misinterpreted by a million people, so I'm sorry I even said it. But the point is, it sits in that issue of moral relevancy to the times we live in based on the knowledge we have. You know what I mean? Like, if going to space were impossible, then having laws about space are kind of useless, right? Like, it's like, well, we can't go to space, so let's just imagine what we do when we go to space, and then don't do this and do that. And blah. But since we can do all these things, it's actually kind of important to talk about it. Like, the resources of space are infinite, basically, and how are we going to adjudicate that to the human government structures we have today? I mean, that's way convoluted and complex. But at the same point, that's what I'm saying, when it's like, you have to address the now for what the now is. Not what you think it is, not what you imagine it is, not what you're told it is. You know? Like, everyone in Europe thought that the vote in Britain was going to go completely differently. At least they thought so on TV for months and months and months. And then they just got romper stomped right back
Brexit?
into a...
Is that what you're talking about? Brexit?
You know, it's not just Brexit. It's the Conservative Party just stomped everyone else. Like,
Yeah,
You
that's ridiculous.
and they all pulled, oh, we have a good chance, 20% or more chance of getting some good votes. And it's just like steamrolled them. And people don't understand why. And the why is so simple. Stop lying to people. People aren't that stupid. I mean, you can tell them all you want that we're doing this for your best interest. But if things keep getting worse, how long can the lie of your best interest really hold up? We're seeing that continentally. We're seeing that globally. I mean,
Well, and speaking of lies, I wanted to tie the kind of conversation back to what you were talking about the beliefs of your life that have led you through your life, which you mentioned the word duplicity, and I Googled it because why not? Some other words that came up were, so just the definition is deceitfulness or double dealing, so deceit, deception, deviousness, two-facedness. So this is what you're talking about being in your situations.
well, being told that good people always get the best outcomes because that's what good little, you follow the rules, everything's going to be fine, right? But yeah, exactly. It's bullshit. And you encounter these moments when it's like, yeah, well, that good person, good people, good vibe bullshit comes to rear its ugly head. And you're on the phone, crippled with a broken leg, barely able to move because you've been hit by a car and have to kill your mom on the phone. Because, the greater glory of the mystery of the universe, like when God is great, he's great. When he fucks up, he's mysterious, right? That's a difficult situation to sort of wrap your head around. And you're laying there like, well, wait a second, she was great, I'm okay. What the fuck is this? Like, where's the justification for that kind of emotional suffering for anyone? It shook me, it shook my father, it shook everyone we knew, it just shook people. And I didn't even realize how much it shook people for years because I disintegrated so fucking fast after that. It was like, that was the blast that broke the mountain. I couldn't even deal. It didn't process. It was like, well, I'd rather just kill my brain than deal with this. So that's what I did for a really long time until I could find like the synaptic control to not, think about it for 1 minute and break down into some kind of like self-destructive cycle, right? Took years. And even today, this is the worst season of the year for me. The worst. It's the Christmas season.
Especially like right now, like these weeks now, yeah?
Yeah. Well, her birthday was in the same month as mine. And it's all within this very particular window of time that all of these things kind of disintegrated and happened. And it just it's one of those. It's like, it is the hardest. And as a guy who struggles with substance abuse issues, it's one of those places where it's like nowadays, looking back on my life, I'm surprised I made it, for sure. Right. Because these times of year, I don't know what the hell. Sometimes it was really bleak, right?
But that's also like your origin story.
Well, that's also part of the duplicity.
You were
this word, it's not just a lie. It's a truth. And duplicity also means the lie is the substance. That's the problem. It's part of every lie is a kernel of truth. So the lie that we are surviving this way is part of the duplicitous nature of the whole comment. You're not really surviving this way. You're just changing who you are to survive this way. And that's a lie too. Because you become somebody different when you do it. And that's who you end up. And it's sort of like my family calls me the Grinch around Christmas, right? Because everyone else is like, we're going to go caroling tonight. Are you coming? And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
You should.
What if you tried it one time?
I have.
Yeah.
It's really embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, that's fair. At least you tried it.
I have no interest in it. It just makes me angry.
I mean, something that I probably
like I can sing. It's not the issue. I can't sing. It's like we're caroling, blah blah blah. Then after a few minutes, I'm like, you know what? I don't fucking care about any of this, and I have to walk off. I can't.
Caroling, more like not caring. Yeah.
I don't know what just happened. Karim's shaking his head, and Karim's face palming himself right now.
Can we get when we get all animated? We'll get an animation of Karim, and it's a face palm.
Right.
Yeah.
Richard, I just don't want to poison other people's experience of the holidays, right?
Right.
Like, I'm not trying to ruin anybody else's time.
It's very common. It's tough.
For me, it sucks.
Suicide's high around Christmas as well, too.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of that has to do, too, with the fact that Christmas is a really corporate and really money-oriented holiday.
Yeah.
And when times are tough around holidays, people really feel it.
Right.
So it becomes more stressful, and you know, I can't get my kid a present for Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, that's
like
that's a pretty huge guilt trip. But yeah. So I mean, again, ladies and gentlemen out there in the world, on Christmas Eve, let me tell you this: my anti-depression, anti-hating my life, anti-whatever strategy is to know, and I fucking do, that I have a lot of good people around, and that they are my friends, my family, my loved ones, and without them, none of this would be possible. So I want to thank everybody in my life, you guys.
Yeah, buddy.
Good friends, good family.
It's a good time of year for reflection. I mean, it sort of happened by accident for you, but you know, the year, with the calendar year or whatever you want to call it.
Still.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be more conscious of those close to us. I'm sorry, we have to be. Like, we spend so much time worrying about giant issues that personally we can do almost nothing to fix. You know? Like, yes, you could put one less water bottle in the recycling bin every day. That's fantastic. Good for you. You're a fucking hero. Captain Planet, here you go, yada, yada. But if you love your brother, your sister, your wife, your girlfriend, your friends, your lover, your partner, whoever, and you cherish that person and hold them close when they're at their worst, you have fixed 1,000,000 days of that person's life. 1,000,000 days. The rest of their days. And every one of those days can now be full of promise, which may not have been there before.
Well, you mentioned a story that you found your friend on the street there.
This is a weird story, and this is one of those things. It sounds like fantasy or somnambulism, but it's not. I'm not some kind of fucking psychic, and I'm not a hero, and it's not like that. I was sitting in my house. I was fucking chilling out. It was winter. It was cold. Shit was fucked. Whatever. I was chilling with my buddy Rich.
Yeah,
who's currently narcoleptic. But
yeah, he's corroborated this, but right now he's.
But the point is,
unattainable.
I went over to Rich and I said, "We got to go. We got to go downtown. We got to take the Queen car. We got to go downtown. We got to find my friend." And I'm not going to say her name because there's no point in putting her in it. So we'll just say her name is Flower. Okay. I said, we got to find Flower. I said, she's not doing well. She needs us. We got to find her right now. And he's like, "Are you going to chill out unless I do this with you?" And I was like, "No. It's one of those times. Like, you just have to trust me. We're going to do this thing." So we went and got on the Queen car, went downtown. And I was like, "You get off here. I'm going to get off here. She's at one of these two places. We'll get her." Well, I ended up finding her in a storefront. I figured she'd be at this bank building storefront downtown. She was living hard on the street at the time. She was really sick with pneumonia, like not doing very well. Had she been out in the street in the cold that much longer, she probably wouldn't have been okay. But I was like, enough of this shit. I literally just picked her up, Got back on the TTC. Rich called me. I was like, yeah, I got her. I'm going to my place. It's over. I walked into my front door. My mom is standing there. And I'm carrying this dirty street girl up my stairs into our apartment. My mom takes one look at me and goes, is she okay? What does she need? That's the fucking woman we're talking about. My crazy ass carrying some unconscious girl.
Right.
And my mom's like, she knows I didn't do anything. She's like, what did you rescue and how do we fix this? Right? So she stayed with us for a few weeks, and part of the story got weird. I had this weird nightmare one night, and I woke up, and I always keep, that was awesome. I always keep, something near the bed for self-defense. And it turned out I had just like a little knife over there. And I leaped out of bed and like attacked this like cushioned thing in the other corner of the room. So I thought there was a big dog. This big black fucking dog in my bedroom somehow like coming at us in the bed. And there was nothing there. And when I turned the lights on, it was just me, and I'd stabbed this pillow, and I thought maybe, oh man, I had like one of my sleepwalking, like fucking maybe I did something weird. Okay, fuck it, I'll just go pretend I didn't do that and throw the pillows out later and killed some pillows, no big deal. The next morning, she came out of like sort of her fever, trancey sleep, and said that she had thought there was this dog chasing her, this like big black dog, and she was like really afraid it was going to kill her. And then last night it went away. And that's all somnambula, right? I mean, it doesn't mean anything except that it's an anecdotal story that's pretty cool, right? And I kind of like it. I was like, yeah, I like that story. I'll tell that story.
The demon dog, yeah, slaying the demon.
Because for me, it was really embarrassing. Like in my underwear, like on the side of the room, like stabbing this pillow repeatedly, like, yeah, I got you, villain. Right. And it's like just my own fucking futon over there. And I'm like, oh, yeah, got you, futon. Maybe you got to like lay off the drugs, Bob. Like something's up with you. And the next morning, she's like, yeah, there was this dog. It came after us and was trying to kill me, and then it like went away. And I was like, yeah, dude, go away. Killed it.
Slayer.
He held up all the goose down from the pillow.
But yeah,
Here it
and that's
is.
the other thing. As a very logical and sort of scientifically minded man, I can't explain any of that shit, which I love. That's where imagination begins and the rest of us die.
Nice.
Phone call? Where we called each other?
What's that?
Oh.
Let's throw Cam on here.
We
Audience
got
mic.
some guest audience mic.
Audience mic question. Cam.
Just on a serendipitous note, yeah.
Yeah, it's it has none of the heroism or the stakes whatsoever. But Trev and I one time I had just moved back from Montreal, and I moved back in with my parents, so I was up around like Lawrence. But for whatever reason, I was walking along Bloor, and I thought that I'd call Trev, and we weren't talking to each other that much. Like,
No, because you just got back, so we weren't used to like hanging out. Like we weren't hanging out regularly.
Yeah,
we wasn't meaning to.
We weren't in the loop because there was no loop.
Yeah,
and then but then I called Trev, and then it was busy because you were calling me.
Yes,
and then we made eye contact because we were like walking right towards each other.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Feet away from each other, and we just called each other, and because I'd been away for years, and then I was like,
than a turtle getting a straw caught in its nose.
Right.
So
that was fun.
It was weird.
We were like, get out of my life.
Yeah.
But hey, what's up?
But neither of us are dying or nothing, so it's not.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
No, it was just the powers that exist.
Remember when we saw that guy wearing the T-shirt of the thing that we had just talked about?
We had
what was
just
that?
Done I think Murder Sharks reference or something, and then because we're in a play that we were in, that Lars coined a phrase of a line, and then we were walking along Queen Street, and then as we were talking about making it into shirts, we're like, "What's all Chris the director?" And then we saw a guy with a shirt that said like. It had like murder and shark on it.
Yeah, like it had the same saying on it that we were just
I can't remember what the
it
mathematical term for that is, but there's totally a thing for like when you associate one thing with another and then it appears in front of you.
Glitch
like
in the Matrix.
Well, it's part of like you're looking for it.
No, a glitch
right?
in the Matrix is when you see the black cat and you look away from the black cat and then you see the black cat again in exactly the same place going stutter, stutter, right?
I feel like I've seen the glitch or two. Speaking of glitches,
We have the tan-colored dog this time. Is this the dog that you stabbed?
No.
No.
It was huge and black and scary. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have stabbed Luna. I'd be like, Luna, give me some pepperoni.
So you want some pizza?
It's our studio dog appearance. Yeah, that's the fun part about having us here at Laughing Viking Studio, 696B Queen Street East here in Toronto, is we get the studio dog in effect
You
here.
come down to the Monday night podcast parties, you might have this little one on your lap.
Yeah, if you don't like us, you can at least like Luna.
Right.
'Cause
There you go.
Look at that. Look
No,
at
and
that
liking
food.
us is not really necessary.
No, in fact, you probably aren't supposed to like us. I think we're kind of the.
And I'm sure it had a lot of fun if
ourselves
you came
as
here and hated us
villains.
too, actually.
Yeah, you know what? If you want to come and we got an audience
You
mic.
can heckle
and,
the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, I am like a 400-pound, 7-foot man. So heckle all day long, but you get physical, human origami your ass. But
Yeah,
Which
you better
is-
come with your words, because that's.
besides, we got Batman over here. Like, I feel pretty safe in this place.
Rich is heckling with his snoring right now.
Yeah. In fact,
Wow.
he's
He
got
hasn't
this
started
one
grinding
move
his
called.
teeth yet. That's
Oh.
heckling.
He's got this one move called projectile drool, and watch out for that
Cam,
one.
it's coming close to you. He is on an angle right now where it's pooling in the side of his mouth.
He's loading up.
You guys don't know the half of it, man.
Right.
No, we don't.
Oh, I'm
I've
sure.
seen some amazing things. The guy can basically cocoon himself in drool. Like,
Right.
you know,
Is that why he carries all those little napkins with him all the time?
no, he's got a sinus problem. He's got a lot of problems, man.
Right.
We should start, you know what? We need a Red Cross team in here right now. We got like a rich.
I was gonna say, like, how many different facets of first aid could you like apply to him?
probably 2 or 3 at least.
I was saying to
Yeah.
we
right.
we were observing him sort of move behind the scenes here, and there's often a lot of times where like I'm just impressed that his physical body is functioning and like that machine is somehow operating despite the level of intoxication. Like,
It kind of It's like it's like Bionic Man, where like some of it's
Right.
there, some of it's not.
because he'll snap out of this and then kind of catch a second wind and like go grab some pizza or get some smokes at the corner
Yeah.
store, and you're like, how are you functioning right now?
We had a friend like that in high school. Yeah.
Usually the secret is if you've waited and he hasn't had food yet, right? You ask him about food. Oh no.
Luna's licking his hands and
Eventually,
he's not
he'll have
reacting.
he'll
Little
he'll
smile on
grab
his
the dog,
face though.
and then Luna won't be happy with that.
No.
And then yeah,
He's got it's because he's got shawarma fingers right now. He had shawarma, so he's got
no, he didn't have shawarma.
tahini. No, he didn't. What did he have?
Nothing.
He's got rich fingers.
Just natural rich fingers right there. It's whiskey. It's whiskey and
It's whatever's
McClay's.
coming out of
How's
his
that?
pores.
Luna's drunk now.
She's like,
Luna is
"Hello."
hammered. Nice. We should. Speaking of earlier, you mentioned good friends and important people in our lives.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
That's something I've been trying to focus more
Yeah.
on. Is I'm guilty a lot of the times of. You ever think to say or do something nice, even if it's just like, oh, nice jacket or something like that, and then
You
you
just
don't, and then so I'm trying to not do that. Whether it's
So,
little
Karim,
words.
Or we have the
Karim, for this Christmas, you're gonna come on over here and sit on Santa's lap. Come on.
It's not necessarily Christmas related. I feel like this is all super blasphemous. Grab that. Grab that. Come on over. Come on.
I'm not sitting on your lap.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
Yeah, what's up?
Do it.
Take a knee.
If all the world's a stage, and the tech crew must be gods.
Say it again.
Well, if all the world's a stage, then the tech crew must be gods. And you, my friend, may not be a god because that's blasphemy, but
He is a
you are
prince.
certainly a prince amongst men. And so we've each signed the book a little bit for you.
This is a little notepad.
It's a notepad, so you can carry on taking crazy notes, whatever you wish, with us in mind.
All the thanks is to you, sir. The man behind the scenes. The one who gets it done. So for everyone who doesn't know, Karim is the truth and
Right.
the machine to all of
Swing
this.
your mic in. Because obviously, Kareem.
So Lars orchestrated that. I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows. K-Rock, without him, we couldn't fucking do this
Right.
show, period.
Right.
And we're really sad that he may have to depart, and we'll have to depart.
He's been called back to the kingdom. The kingdom
There are
needs him.
greater things at stake. If you've seen Game of
until he's
Thrones, you know
gone,
what we're talking about.
We got him here, and we're gonna wrest every inch of creative talent we can out. He just squeeze it out.
It's
like
true,
a
we are squeezing him
sponge.
pretty
What if we
hard.
Just
drawer?
kidnap him, and then your parents are like, "Sorry, but I'm kidnapped."
Yeah, but
Also,
if I
there's a
just put a balaclava on and say, we don't know what your son is.
What's
they're
the
gonna be like,
ransom on a
We could probably
prince?
get ransom. yeah. This might be the way we fund the show. Yeah, it's been right under our nose this whole time.
Okay, guys,
He just couldn't suggest it. It
Guys,
can't be his idea.
you can't put it live in the podcast if you want to make money doing it.
Right.
Nobody's listening.
No
to
one
these.
has.
Yeah, come on.
It's true. We have less followers than my ex, fucking landlord, who does videos of him hurting himself at work.
Right. But
We should start
getting there.
hurting people at work.
We're gaining steam. Kareem, this is episode 31. I think, Kareem, you've been here since episode 3. We did 2 here at Laughing Vikings. Then we started doing them at 1830 downtown. So that's, 29 that you've done?
Technically, I've edited all of them.
Right. Oh, yeah, you edited that one, too. So right now, Kareem's, we're way understaffed and way underfunded. He's running 3 cameras. He edits it, puts the audio online, snips all the cameras, angles together, does the thumbnails with the episode title.
Sometimes has his
Like I said,
sidekick.
utterly
sometimes
fucking indispensable.
Yeah.
Like, literally, without a fucking doubt.
None of this, the words you're hearing right now, you would not be hearing and you would not be seeing us without Kareem.
So
like I
if you
said,
hate
brother,
us, you can blame Kareem.
we love you,
All
man.
Kareem's fault.
Thank you so much, guys. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, seriously, thank you.
Yeah,
You're welcome,
good,
man. Best,
and
man.
we're gonna miss you.
You're a mate.
Yeah,
You got
Yeah.
no
I'm
idea.
Still not 100%.
And you know what?
but
I think we're gonna try and pitch a show to the Canadian consulate about like being your escort back to Africa, entourage. Like, come on, guys, diversity. It's our strength. Let's prove it. 3 white guys who know nothing about Africa trying to get jobs
my
in
God.
Africa.
Right. What do we say?
You
It
want
was
to
like,
teach us some lessons? That's how you do it.
It's like reverse coming to
I'd
America.
I'd watch that. I'd be in that.
Yeah, that'd be.
I'm still sort of holding out
Same
that
thing he always does.
I'm
I
kind
have
of
luggage.
I'm holding out that Kareem doesn't go, that he pulls some like
Well, like I said, he has to go
power
on
move
Entourage,
and-
the show. Done.
No, it's a work in progress.
We'll just go with him.
a lot of moving parts.
you can still edit from like
Yeah,
everything's
definitely,
Google
yes.
Drive, so we
Sure.
I was
just
gonna
do
say
it and then you can edit it.
globalization, technology.
You're gonna want to know what we're up to every week, so
Yeah, I mean, like, I might be leaving the country, but it's not like I'm, like, cutting all my bridges or, like,
right.
you won't hear from me anymore.
It's not like you're leaving
or
and you
anything.
hate everything.
You're
Yeah,
either
there's
with
still
us or against
technology.
us, Kareem.
Hey, we've
You
proven
leave
that.
this room tonight, don't ever come back.
You're dead to me, son.
And we've
Dead to
proven that if
Give
you're
him a
not
nice gift and then excommunicate
if you're
him
not in the
forever.
room, you're still on the podcast. We've
Right.
proven that, you know.
Yeah,
like,
You can phone in.
Lars,
Maybe you can be the
from
first
New York City
international phone-in.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyhow, I guess we've done our time. Are we in?
but
Yeah, I think
Still
we're probably in the
got
wrap up.
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
wow.
Well, social media shouts. If you're
Yeah.
if you're listening to this, share it with your friends. Tell some people on it.
Yo.
Get them on it.
Yeah, hit those like buttons. Hit the subscribe
If
shit.
if anything that was said in here that rang true to you or someone that you know,
Yeah.
yeah, just share it along.
Because you know what? Maybe, here's the thing. I'm not right all the time, but a broken clock's right twice a day, and I'm right more than that.
Right.
So
And it is the holiday
Said the
season, so
broken
you
clock.
mentioned it. Like, reach out to your friends and say nice things to people when you have the opportunity.
narcissism notwithstanding.
But mostly hit us up at 39DD Show on Instagram and Facebook,
Yeah.
or on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, review, and rate. Tell your
you
friends.
come find us on Facebook, but
Send
not
us
me.
money.
And you can do all this. I'm the worst. I'm not. You can't. No, just go and find us.
And at this point,
Do it.
we're wanting some suggestions of sign-offs because at this juncture is our sign-off juncture, which we would say.
all right. If you look down and still find yourself here, you're in the wrong place.
I like that.
Touche.
Yeah, Kareem, get out of here.
All right.
All right.
Well said, everyone.
And podcast over and out.